Hey, welcome to CMN Less Than 10, a resource produced by the Church Multiplication Network. It's guaranteed to be less than 10 minutes. We're going to be held accountable. They're going to superimpose a clock on the screen. Okay. So I'm here with my friend Ryan Wakefield. He is the founder of Church Marketing University, a guru in all things church and getting visitors to your church. You're going to really love the conversation we're going to have today. We're going to be talking about what growing churches prioritize.
Yep.
And the number one thing that growing churches prioritize is what?
Well, we studied 2,000 churches because we thought, man, there's got to be something that growing churches are doing.
Right.
That if a church is plateaued or declining, those churches are not doing. And outside of keeping the main things.
Sure.
Focus on Jesus, preaching the word, being led by the Spirit.
Sure.
Like, what is really working with marketing? So we studied these 2,000 churches. We found 7 things, but there was one thing that like the data was like this is huge.
Right.
And we found like the thing that we're about to talk about, 38% of declining churches, it is true of those. If you look at growing churches in this study, 68% do it.
Wow.
And if you look at like this upper echelon of rapidly growing churches, 88%.
Wow.
So the thing,
it's screaming.
It's screaming.
It's clear.
It's clear.
Like they're on the edge of their seat right now.
Growing churches are led by leaders that prioritize reaching the next generation.
Wow.
That was the biggest thing.
You would never have been able to think that was the thing.
No, like I was studying, there's all sorts of things that we were looking at. Are they running Facebook ads? Are they doing photography, reviews, search engine we were trying to look at all the things, but the biggest thing was if you have a leader, the senior leader, that prioritizes reaching young, you are way more likely to be a growing church.
Wow, that was worth enough time right there. We could close. That's been CMN Less Than 10. Close it off right
now.
Share
this and let's close.
That's it. No. How do you, so that's clear. That's a very precise, measurable, right? Does the senior leader prioritize reaching the next generation?
Yep.
How does one start doing that?
Yeah, and a lot of church leaders, and sometimes I think these are people who are not the senior leader, like think, well, how do I know this is true of my leader? And I would say this, oftentimes I'll joke back with them like, would you know if your senior leader prioritizes their golf game? How would you know? Well, do they spend money on golf? Do they own a lot of golf clubs? Do they spend, 8 hours a day or a week out on the course? Right? So take those same things.
You know what they love.
Right. Do they spend time there? Do they have in their small groups? Do they have younger people? Do they invest personally and as a church in their budget in reaching young? Do they have young people on their board and leadership and all areas of their church? So if you just use that funny golf analogy, you can quickly see.
You can audit their time, right?
Yes.
You can kind of analyze and say, okay, it is a priority or it's not.
Yes. And so I think once you think of it like that, you quickly are like, okay, is this true of us or not? And then I think sometimes if you are the senior leader, it's like, okay, is this true of me? And if not, then I think maybe going back, okay, what would this look like? How could I renew my passion to reaching younger?
Right. Okay, so renewing my passion to reaching younger for some might mean one thing.
Right.
Because younger is relative as well, right? So when we say next generation, are we talking 25 and younger, 35 and younger? Because to some senior leaders, 50 and younger might be the next generation.
Right.
With all due respect.
Right, and I get that, and this is where probably the downside of our assessment. Like we didn't get granular, Ed Stetzer's probably in the comments.
Right. He's like, I know what to tell you. Let me do this CMN Less Than 10.
Right, but really that was just kind of the idea is that they really prioritize reaching young. My take on it is like young families. Like that's going to go from like kids to their parents and through the student ministry age. I think that we've known this in the church world for a long time.
Yeah.
The studies of just how much.
Well, they say the most likely point of conversion for a family to come to a church is when their oldest child or first child goes to kindergarten.
Gotcha.
So that would mean young families or next generation.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would say. If someone said, well, what does next generation mean? Well, it's someone with a kid that's going into kindergarten or first grade or elementary school.
Yep. So I can't give you the exact, but I think if we're thinking young families, kids ministry, student ministry, you're getting really, really close.
Okay, so that's going to be the attribute for a growing church, the number one out of the 7.
Yep.
Is there another one off the top of your head that we could sneak into this 10-minute video for the people?
One of them that is not talked about a lot that I found was super interesting is this, that growing churches consistently capture and share photography. And I think once you hear it, you're like, really? Photography?
It just seems like so, like I say easy or just almost, I say shallow, but it's like, okay, awesome.
Yeah, but think about how many churches around the world don't have any photos of their people on their website.
Wow.
Like I look at so many churches and there's not one photo of like their people. And so when we're coaching churches, we're like, we just need to get 10 photos and we'll walk you through the 10 you need. But can we get 10 photos?
Wow.
But I think once you think about it and you start looking at churches in your area that are growing, I think what you'll see on Instagram and Facebook and on their website,
fresh photos.
They're always capturing and sharing photos consistently because it goes with that first point of reaching young.
Right.
Because the younger generation is the most visual generation.
Right.
In the
it's
history
no
of the
longer
world.
a phone that they carry in their pocket. It's a camera.
Yeah,
right?
and think about the brand new, the latest, hottest, biggest piece of technology, the iPhone.
Right.
What is the big feature?
Right. The new camera.
Yeah, the cameras. It's got 3 lenses and it can shoot in the dark, which pastors and church leaders is perfect for churches.
Right.
So it should be easier than
Very
ever because junior hires could help any church like accomplish this part here.
Right.
But that was one that I think catches church leaders off guard. But when you start to think about it, it makes a whole lot of sense.
So would you suggest, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but if a senior leader is watching this, he's like, yeah, I prioritize the next generation, but I don't even know where to start when it comes to photography. You handle all that, I know, with Church Marketing University, but do you recommend a photography team or bringing someone out professionally, or how would someone watching this start?
Okay, so this is going to get me in trouble.
Sure.
But I say this, I say now I think pastors and church leaders need to look at developing out their volunteer photography team as just as important as developing out their worship team.
Right.
And the same level of intentionality, focus, priority, because you wouldn't go into a week and be like, well, we don't have anybody to sing.
Right, you wouldn't go without drums, right? You wouldn't go without keyboard.
Right.
You shouldn't go without pictures.
And if you don't know how to develop out a worship team, you're going to figure it out.
Right.
That same level of priority has to be true now of your photography team. We may not know how to figure it out, but the good news is a few junior hires with an iPhone can do an incredible job.
And I would say, and you correct me if I'm wrong because you're the expert, but a real photo that might not be the best quality is better than a stock photo from some other church or somewhere else that is the best quality. Would you? Like, I'd rather see a picture of the actual food at a restaurant on Yelp or on a review site than some stock photo of a food that I'm not going to get.
Absolutely. And sometimes when we say best photo or super beautiful, like those aren't even always the most effective.
Right.
Like just showing
the real stuff.
Yeah, showing what God is up to in your church, showing what the experience is like, what the people are like, what the leaders like. And the phones are so good.
Right, they're not.
With their lenses,
so good.
portrait mode, what it can do in low lighting, it can make really good photos that should take a lot of the headache and a lot of the excuses away. Like, we don't have a professional, we don't have a $5,000 camera.
Right.
No, you need a junior hire and a phone.
Right. Wow, that is so powerful. I'm already thinking about like even our own church and how we can even reach the next generation and have higher quality photography. Now we have 2 minutes left on the clock, so lightning round. Let's do one more of the 7 if you could recall, and we'll just do it really, really fast. Leave them wanting more, like always.
Yeah, I would say number 3 was growing churches prioritize collecting contact information. Phones, phone numbers, and email addresses.
Gotcha.
You got to be really good because ministry flows out of relationships. My mentor, Pastor Scotty Gibbons, used to always just hammer that in, which I add on the marketing. Relationships start when you have people's contact information.
Right. You cannot have a relationship with someone who you cannot get in touch with.
Exactly.
Right.
So as much as you can, we see this in the data, growing churches are just prioritize always getting people's contact information. They're doing it through creative things like kids pre-registration online, through plan a visit process, through social channels, on site when they're having connect cards, a number of ways. And then a huge tip would be pastors and church leaders lean into text messaging.
Right.
Email's still super powerful, but the most effective communication channel on the face of the planet,
text message.
Text
They say it's
by far.
read within a couple of seconds. The average text message is read within a few seconds. Emails, I'm sure, take a little bit longer to read every day. So I got 55 seconds. How would I learn more about everything that you just taught us, and how do I get started?
Yeah, we go a lot deeper at churchmarketinguniversity.com. We've got a Facebook group full of church marketers. We've got about 8,000 church marketers that talk about this stuff all the time.
I'm in that group. I love that group.
Yeah.
So helpful.
Jump into that group. It's a great way to bounce ideas back and forth, what's working, how you solve things like your photography.
Right.
So that's the way to follow
So
up.
churchmarketinguniversity.com.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you so much. Hey, thank you for watching this week's episode of CMN Less Than 10. I'll see you next time.